Well, it's early morning Sunday. September 27th. About 1,800 kilometers to Toronto. I just got some fuel. $2.6, so $1.02.6 per liter. And yesterday I came into that lane, just like you see the guys backing out over there, and there's no column in the front. The lane is not blocked, but when you come in, you see a red cover on the pump. And you know, with this long rig, right? I came in and I said, and I couldn't fuel, so I got the DEF works, but for some reason that pump is broken. And I said, why you guys didn't put like something to show that this lane is closed? And he says, well, we try to put that column in there. He says 3-4 times, and each time the guy just drive over it, you know. So I said, nice, okay. I said, I'll make a little circle in the morning. And I was parked over there. You see where the land is, where the pavement is dry, because it rained overnight. So I was able to go around and just go in a straight line and park next to this curb, and then I get out like this so that my rear tires don't hit the curb. And I spend the night. I spend the night in this nice Best Western over here. Dryden, Ontario. I hate to see that paper mill, you know, just killing all nature in here. Like when I was here in the summer, I went in when I was, no, I think last year, no, a couple of years ago, when I was interested in wildlife photography, right? So I grabbed my big lens and I went to the river over there, and I did see a deer, but the water, you can see like black coming from the bottom. So if I could reach Hearst today, that would be something, but it's 846 kilometers away, which is roughly 530 miles, which does not seem like much, but with a load like this on these roads with lights and going through small towns, well, I can probably do it actually, because in Canada, and this is Canada, right, to make it clear. So in Canada we allowed 13 hours of driving, but just, I'm not sure why I want to do that, but they all want this load ASAP. I didn't do much driving yesterday. But I drove the whole night on the day before, right? And I got out of North Dakota and then Manitoba by 6 o'clock a.m. Sneaked out, crossed the border, everything was good. In Emerson, Manitoba, and then went towards Winnipeg. There was a couple of detours there, but it felt so you know, surreal or unreal. Driving at night with pretty much no people on some secondary roads where they sent me. I didn't do a video because, you know, there's these GoPros. They don't do very well at night. And so yeah, then I came on for a short, like 5 minutes I was on the bypass from Highway 59 to 100, and then from 100 I took 17 East. Well, actually it's Trans-Canada 1, and then when you enter Canada, when you enter Ontario, it becomes 17. And I shut down at that first rest area, because there's no night driving in Ontario. Like, they allow, with my dimensions and with this weight, they allow night driving in North Dakota and pretty much all Western Canada, and of course Manitoba is part of that. But as soon as you enter Ontario, you have to be shorter to drive at night. I'm 32 meters or 105 feet, and you need to be less than 25 meters, which is what, 7 meters difference, probably 20 feet less. So I shut down 6 o'clock, set my alarm for 1 p.m. because again, Canada is different, right? We don't need 10 hours off, we need 8 hours off. Yeah, it started driving at 2 in the afternoon, and I'm thinking I can go past Dryden, but it was like 120 miles, 200 kilometers, but it took me almost 3 hours because the road is crazy. So now, like I said, if we can make Hearst, then it means that I can deliver on Tuesday. And actually from here, the road is much better. Yeah, like even on Google Maps it doesn't look like this, you know, like before. Western had a pleasant surprise for me when I was checking in. They gave me a little green card and they said, that's your free breakfast coupon. And the breakfast was like, you go in the restaurant on the first floor, and they ask you your name, your phone number, they write it down, you know, for COVID-19 tracking, in case somebody, you know, gets sick over there. So then they know who to call. And then they give you a menu. They have like a real breakfast menu. Not just regular, you know, continental breakfast, which is short speak for we have no real food. But we'll give you a continental breakfast. So I just had like 3 eggs. I said, eggs and bacon, please. No bread, no potatoes, and coffee to go. And the guy said, okay, that's it? I said, yep. Now sometimes you see signs, you know, when you enter Canada, they kind of like translate kilometers for you, and they, you know, let's say if the speed limit is 100 kilometers an hour, they put a sign that says 100 kilometers an hour equals 60 miles per hour. But today is Sunday, so, and the speed limit is 90 kilometers an hour, so we're gonna create like a virtual sign. 90 kilometers is 60 miles per hour. Because I need a bit of RPM, you know, to climb these hills. It's still hilly. Reading comments yesterday for that video about the airbag install. 70 people post the same comment. Oh, that button, it's an alignment pin. Read the comments. Nobody reads comments, they just write their own comments. Nobody's interested in other people's comments, right? And that's the truth. No, so nobody cares about your comment. Like one guy writes, that's the alignment pin. And then the other guy says, oh, yeah, that's the alignment pin. No, actually, without yeah, just that's the alignment pin. Read the other comments first before you comment. Because maybe there are smarter people that think quicker, right? So, like, why do we need 100 comments saying the same thing, right? Unbelievable. But one guy even went as far as email me today. Oh, Sergey, about that pin. I'm just like, I started a fit of uncontrollable laughter. All right, what about that pin? Like, besides the 100 comments we already read, that's the alignment pin. Yeah, that's the alignment pin, and then there's something, that bolt at the bottom. Okay, nobody mentioned the bolt at the bottom, so this guy actually should have put that in comments, because that might be of use to some other people. But basically he says, of course I knew this because I saw how they took the airbag apart when they tried to fit different bellows on it. Remember at TA when they tried to fix it? And so of course I know that it can twist, but I just didn't realize it, that can be useful. And this guy in the email says, yeah, if you loosen that center bolt at the bottom, you can twist the bellows together with the top. You know, like if you cannot fit the holes, because there's only 4 bolts, right? He says if you cannot fit the bolts in the way that the pin sits in that hole, he says that's what you can do. You can just loosen that bolt and twist it. And now I know exactly how that pin came out of there, why it's leaking, right? So first off, so when the Jeep was lifted off the trail a couple of times, I forgot to attach the chains over the axles to tighten them, right? And so the wheels sagged and they stretched the airbags. And what happened is that, like, you see, the airbag itself did not break, did not rip, all right? Instead it twisted a little bit, and so that pin came out of the hole. And when the Jeep was settled on the ground, the pin did not go in its proper position in the hole. Instead it twisted just a couple of millimeters, you know, left or right. And so now it sits just under the plate. And so when the bag's inflated, of course, they have nowhere to go, and all the pressure was on that pin, and it crushed. I don't know, it's a bit of a stupid design, if you ask me. That pin should be bigger so that it does not come out that easy, you know. And that mechanic at the TA, he had no idea about this pin, because he installed it totally wrong. he installed it with the airbag sitting off to one side and didn't want to fix it. I said, okay, fix it, I'll pay you for your time. And he twisted that bag and put it back in, but of course he didn't fix anything. That liquid rubber does not do anything. Alright, we'll do 95, forget 97. 95 kilometers an hour, which is good enough. It's 59 miles per hour. Because there's quite a few sharp turns in here. So the truck pulls great because, why? Because I drained the fuel filter. And I was looking at the liquid in the bottle. It looks like real fuel. Of course, I cannot see the water, but when I drain it, the bubbles go up. And I just wait till I see maybe half an inch of space at the top, you know, when the fuel goes down. And then I turn the key, wait 10-15 seconds till my electric motor pumps the fuel back in there. And always when I drain it, the truck drives, it just pulls much better. I don't know. But when the winter's coming, I remember that I had trouble with this filter in winter. I just don't like how it sits at the downwards there. You cannot tell if you have water or not. So when I'm back home, I should deliver this Tuesday. So I'm gonna take the truck to Kenworth, and first off, the truck is due for oil change and grease, and I have to grease the trailer as well. All 4 trailers. Jeep trailer, flip 1, flip 2. And I'm gonna ask Kenworth to change the fuel filter assembly from PACCAR to DEFCO. And I talked to a guy on the phone about this, to a mechanic over there, and he says, well, you want to talk to parts? Well, I asked him, I said, if that's is it possible to change on a like, how expensive is it? Like $5,000, $200, you know? And the guy says, well, it probably can be done, but you want to check with parts, with the parts department, see if it's just the assembly, like the ball you have to change, or do you have to change the fuel lines as well? Because he says, if you have to change the fuel lines, it'll be very expensive. And so yeah, before I ask him to change it, I'm gonna talk to parts, give him my VIN number, and see, you know, what's the difference between PACCAR and they can see on the computer which parts are different. If it's just the ball and the filter, then it's fine, you know. Because I know I heard very good things about the DEFCO, and unfortunately I only learned about the existence of that filter, or that system, so to speak, after I bought the truck. Like I did not realize that the Cummins engine would have PACCAR parts in it, you know. I thought everything would be like Cummins. But no, of course, Peterbilt and Kenworth, they add their own stuff, and the fuel filter assembly is one of them. And I had a lot of trouble with that filter because they gave me a wrong filter. It was too restrictive, you know, the size in microns was too small. So the filter was plugging in on all this biodiesel and like 3,000 miles. And that's when I did my research, and I found the make and model of the proper filter, and I also found out about this DEFCO thing. And so yeah, if it's possible, I'm gonna change it to DEFCO, and this way I can use different filters. I believe they're better suited for my application for this heavy haul thing. Yeah, you see, that's why it takes forever even to do 530 miles in here, because it's constant, you know, up and down. The speed limit goes up and down, right? 90, 60, 80, 70, 90. It's not a freeway, right? By the way, now I know why sometimes I get so many bad comments under my videos. I was looking at the, I discovered a tab in the dashboard on my YouTube channel. Right? There's a dashboard for creators, right? So you can pull up all kinds of statistics. And one I did not see before is it's called audience. Okay, well, I know before actually I saw like the percentage breakdown, what countries people watch me from. Of course, the majority is US, number 2 is Canada, then Australia, Great Britain, and like 5% of Denmark or something like that, Northern Europe. But then I looked at the audience by age, and to my surprise, I see like the majority of viewers are over 65. So basically old fart population. And that's why you have all these couch commandos, right? So all these retired people, and they just lie there with a mutton leg in the left hand and the keyboard in the right, and they try to type comments. And of course that's why you see so many mistakes, spelling mistakes, and of course, you know, if you're over 65, that means that, so yeah, you probably worked in this field. And so I just don't understand this. Like, if I'm like an airplane pilot, a retired airplane pilot, right? And I'm 70 years old, and I'm killing my time by watching pilots with only 15 years of experience, and I always enjoy criticizing and, you know, hey, you left that button unpushed, you know, you should have pushed that button, or you forgot to drop your wheels at touchdown or something like that. Like, didn't you have enough already? Like, if you're 100 years old and if you airplanes all your life, like, wouldn't you want to maybe watch something else? So basically, stop giving people a hard time, right? But yeah, I thought there would be more. My channel would have more, like, you know, people, you know, maybe 35, 40 years old. No, it's all old guys, you know, and there's like 3% women, the rest is guys. So old, tired guys are the majority of people on this channel, and that's why we have such, sometimes, not always, but sometimes we have such bad air, you know, about comments, because all of these people are probably telling themselves, hey, I've been doing this for 40 years, I might as well write a comment here. That's an alignment pin, comment number 51. Yeah, there's not much I can do about the sun because I'm driving east. Take over 10 hours for sure if I want to reach that. So, and plus, in in about half an hour, there'll be a sign that says entering Eastern time zone. So I'm gonna lose 1 hour compared to the time when because Dryden is on Central Time, and of course Toronto is Eastern Time, same as New York. Yeah, let's see what's going on here with this construction. Yesterday around Kenora they had a bunch of these like 3-4 spots with lights, and you had to stop because there was one lane only. And usually when you see a bunch of people driving at the same time, you see like now there was nobody, then there's a bunch of vehicles, that's a clear good indicator that there's only one lane in the front, you know, because the people were parked, you know, at the red signal, and then they all leave, and you see like a pack of vehicles. Yeah, so 70, so that's and I see the orange sign, one lane. Lights. A bigger engine. A slight hill, and I try to start in low high. Sorry guys, they already have a green light. But there's nowhere to go. There's one lane. And now it's yellow. Perfect. So now these 65 plus guys will have a field day with this, right? Jeez, did you see what he was doing to his transmission? Unbelievable. Can't shift for shit. Who cares? I'm making money. But the next truck will have automatic transmission. I don't care what anybody thinks. I know it's being used by heavy haulers. Automatic, 18 speed, or automated, whatever, so I don't have to do this. It's 21st century, for crying out loud. Why are we still using non-synchronic manual transmission in Northern America? It's just ridiculous. Non-synchronized. At least give us synchronized manual transmission. That one is like okay, but this non-synchro stuff, it's just BS. So yeah, I was talking about the truck in the last video, so let's revisit that topic. So I was saying that for kind of like a last truck before retirement, I might go with something that commands a higher resale value, like maybe a classic truck with a set forward axle. So white color, big front, 265 inches wheelbase, 4 axles. The lift axle has 4 tires, 4. And I know Hendrickson now has a steerable model with 4 tires, which was not available when I was ordering this truck. So if I could get that, 4 tires but steerable, that would be awesome. Or maybe get a tri-drive, I don't know. But tri-drives are about 3,000 pounds heavier. And of course they cost more because now you have much more parts in there, like transmission, drive shaft, you know, differential. It's different, right? So I know if my truck weighs 27,000 pounds, I know if it was a tri-drive, it would be 30,000 pounds. I know that for a fact because I talked to a guy who had a T800 tri-drive, and that was the major reason why he sold it. When he said when the work in Western Canada dried up, he found that the truck, you know, was just too heavy. But the same guy said, "You're a Canadian. If I was Canadian," he says, "I would get a tri-drive." Because of course tri-drive, they allow you a longer wheelbase. It has to be longer, otherwise the front axle gets too light, right? And so maybe there's a logic in that to get a tri-drive, you know? Because I always do heavy loads, but then also just this example, right? I went empty to Michigan, which is okay, a couple 100 miles, and delivered that Volvo in Terrace, BC, but then I drove probably 2,000 miles empty to Las Vegas. Now imagine doing that with a tri-drive, right? That's, you know, a lot of tires on the ground for an empty truck. And they don't allow you like to be considered as a tri-drive. It has to be connected to the engine, like as they say in Alberta regulations, the axle must drive. So you cannot just make a dummy axle with a... But I was thinking about this, you know, like maybe... I'm pretty sure Kenworth can do it. Like say, hey, get me like a fixed axle that's on the ground and put the thing in there, but just don't install actual differentials inside. They're like disconnected from the drive shaft. But that would be illegal in Western Canada, you know, because again, so they don't recognize lift axles on trucks, but they do recognize tri-drive trucks. go to US, right? So I'm not, if I was like 100% inside Canada, like especially doing some lumber hauling or something, right? Then yeah, tri-drive, especially off-road, then yeah, tri-drive is good. But I'm going to US all the time, so I don't know. I'll have to look into that further. But I like the engine. I would take a Caterpillar any day of the week, but it's not available anymore, so Cummins it is. It's a great engine. So of course I would get it with the Devco fuel filter, and so yeah, automatic transmission. And I know some guys in Saskatchewan, like there's a big outfit, they do heavy haul. I asked them what kind of trucks they use, and they said they go with a super short wheelbase 244 because they don't use lift axles, and they just have regular trucks with a tandem drive, and they put 20K on the front, but on the drives they use 50 or 52K. I asked her why so heavy, and they said because they often go off-road when they deliver to a mine or something, and he says quite often you have to disconnect the Jeep or the booster, and basically the truck is way overloaded, but you know there's no other way to get to that mine, and so they use these super heavy drives. So I don't know if I need 52, because you know it's hard to get 46 per tandem on a permit as it is. You know, and that's the reason why I went this way from Las Vegas, because Nevada, Idaho, Montana, they all allow you 46 per tandem, and that's what I needed. So 23K per axle, right? And that's what I needed for this load. And North Dakota said 40,000 per tandem, that's it. And Manitoba gave me 43,500, which was okay. But so if you get 50,000 or 52,000 pound axles, right? So that just means your axles are 25K. And I was checking them on my Jeep. Actually, it's interesting that on the trailer all my axles are rated for 23,000. The trailer and the flip axles, but the Jeep, it's 25,000. So the Jeep actually, so JC did a good job with the axles actually. That it's a pretty strong Jeep, you know. And the next upgrade, I was thinking about this, like deck insert versus extra axle, and I think I'm gonna get the extra axle. I don't need it now, I only need it in the spring, and this guy says he can build me one in 4 months for about $5,000 US cheaper than Fontaine. So I think that's a good deal. You're saving 5,000 US, which is like 6,000 Canadian. And so then I can hook up that axle to the trailer to make it a Dryden and have a tandem booster, 3+2. So that axle weighs about 3,000 pounds. So my empty weight would jump up from 73.5 to probably 76.5, and the length would increase by 6 feet minimum. So I'll be, if I'm 105 now, 105-ish, with that axle, be 110. And some states might require, you know, instead of one pilot, they might require 2 pilots. So that's the downside. But you know, I was thinking I'm not gonna use it all the time. I'm only gonna use it when I have a heavy load, like anything over 110,000. I think it's always good to have 5 axles in the back, because as you saw with these, all of these loads, like that pile driver, like all these, you know, heavy loads, and I'm thinking over 100,000 pounds, that's already heavy. Like that pile driver I did in March was too heavy in the back, so that extra axle will be super helpful. Even with this one, it does not have that such a long boom as that pile driver, that Yuntan PM23. So this one is more properly balanced, and still it put too much weight on the rear. I had to move it, right? So if I have that axle, if I had that axle 3+2, I would not have to move the machine. Yeah, I met a fan as I was sitting near Fargo. Met my Russian friend Vladimir. He was passing through. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and he says, "Wow, your loads are getting bigger and bigger." And I realized that, yeah, he was right. Like when I had the Mac, you know, it was different ball game. Now with this setup, I already did one 120k load, right? After that one, this is the biggest one, 115 true weight, 115,000 pounds. That's a serious, you know, it's a serious load. About the transmission, yeah, sometimes I do miss gears or something like that, but to my you know, to be fair, I did become very proficient at changing the range, you know, like I'm very good at going from high to low or low to high in each gear. You see, like this, I know this like the palm of my hand. It's just, I'm an expert in this. But when it comes, because all you need is one, you need to move one button, right? But when you have to actually move the shifter, that's a I'm still learning. That's a different set of rules. I'm tired of learning, so like I said, the next truck will have an automated transmission. It just, you know, it's with these loads, right? There's just too much shifting. Like no matter how big your engine is or how much horsepower you have, it's never enough when you climb hills. And so, you know, all this shifting, it's like on, you know, if you have a regular truck, flatbed, step deck, you know, I don't think you need that auto transmission, because most of the time you're on the freeway, right? And you drive in top gear. But when you have a heavy load like this, even on a freeway, I shift like crazy all the time because the truck dies on hills, you know. And I go through a lot of hilly areas, like even my neighbor New York over there, upstate New York, lots of hills. Northern Ontario here, lots of hills, you know. And yeah, so the axle ratio would be true 410. And one more thing I would change on the next truck is get a bigger radiator. You see right now it's 200F. Outside it's +9, which is what, 45F? And still the truck, you know, heats up because of the weight and the heel. So I want bigger radiator, and I want outside air cleaners because they give you more air, so the engine breathes better. Is breathing better, and you get 4 times more air. 2 big air cleaners give you 4 times more air than one under the hood air cleaner. And there's no fuel economy with heavy haul. Like, check this out. Right now I'm doing 74 liters. 74 liters per 100 kilometers. 75. Which is, I think it's less than 3 miles a gallon. It's like 2 miles, 2.5 miles a gallon. But this is like instant, you know, the actual fuel economy. So what I'm trying to say is that these air cleaners, right, they rob you of some fuel economy, of course, because they're sticking out in the airstream, but I believe that you need them for heavy haul. And that's why, you know, I've been thinking since, you know, I want a big radiator, big air cleaners, might as well get a classic truck. And by classic I mean set forward axle. And so actually that would work. That truck would look very well. Like, imagine a W900 white with 20K axle, so big, beefy, meaty tires in the front, and I think it's 268 or 270 wheelbase if you go with the tri-drive. I forgot. There's a number they want it to be at from the front axle to the axle 3. With a big radiator, you know, big sleeper, like 86-inch sleeper. That would be a cool truck. Behind me because I'm slow. Okay, what do we have? Freightliner, like the old model, probably 20 years old. And then we have a T800 behind me, but I don't think he'll make it before the end of the lane. Maybe he will. And it's a B-train, fully tarped. That's a lot of fun. Construction again, so I bet it's another one, another set of lights. We'll see. Finally kicked in because it's over 200F right now. about speaking about the truck, I reached out to a guy. There's a guy called Andy. You know how you in the States you have this Peterbilt Steve, right? But I don't like Peterbilt. I just don't like the design, the way it looks. I like Kenworth better. And so there's a guy called Kenworth, Andy the Kenworth guy, and he's actually in Canada. Because I was watching some videos online about, you know, the difference between W900 and this 980, because it's more than just the grill and the radiator. And this guy did a comparison, and then I look at his about me page, and it says he's in Canada, and that was his email over there. So I sent him an email, and so now he says, hey, I'll be happy to help you out with your next truck. So we might have a winner. So I might go to Manitoba. I think he's in Manitoba. I might go to Manitoba to get the truck if he can get me a good deal. But I said I cannot do it until next year, because I still owe too much on the truck. But we have a guy that's interested in my business, you know. And being from Manitoba, he would know how to spec a truck for Western Canada, because that's where, as you see, recently I've been going a lot. So now what? Now my trailer is half of the road. Half of the trailer is on the road. Shoot. Now International has a interesting vocational truck, you know, that came out a few years ago. And you can get it with air cleaners, with the big radiator like this. This is an old 9900. I hope these guys don't hit me. Because you saw, right? I already went into the lane, into the left lane to go over this bridge, and the light changed. At least I was able to hide like this. Alright, I see a red truck on the other side stopped, so that means that, yeah. So the average speed on this highway is about 45 miles per hour, if you're lucky, you know. So So 45 miles per hour, that means it takes you 10 hours to do 450 miles. So I'm not sure about reaching Hearst today. Like I said, changing the range, I'm good at that. the inspection station where cops might be sitting. Thunder Bay, 275 kilometers. So at least I can make Thunder Bay, that's for sure. Well, I definitely make Thunder Bay because I was just thinking about coffee. I found there's a spot there when you're about to leave the city and you turn, I think it's Highway 11, whatever, and there's a huge shoulder in there, and there's no signs that prohibit parking, and I stop there, and then I can walk to the corner, and there's a plaza there, and they actually have a, you know, Starbucks in there. I'm still wearing shorts, but that's definitely the wrong type of a garment for Ontario, but inside the truck it's okay. This is it for today. Thanks for watching, boys and girls. Be good. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Captain Sergei out.